On the shores of Constanța, where the Black Sea winds swept through narrow streets, a boy was born on February 5, 1965. His name was Gheorghe Hagi. In a Romania still burdened by poverty and hardship, football was never a golden path. It was the only spark that could light up a difficult childhood. From an early age, Hagi revealed an unusual gift: speed, flair, and a left foot that seemed destined for greatness. He didn't just kick a ball. Every touch was a brushstroke, every dribble a sketch drawn on the rough ground. The locals quickly sensed that this boy was different. He didn't simply play football, he breathed life into it. As a child, Hagi played anywhere he could, in empty lots, on broken asphalt, in worn-out training grounds. His left foot was forged through countless hours of practice, turning into a weapon of precision and artistry. From this harsh soil, a legend began to bloom, not from wealth, not from privilege, but from the dusty streets by the Black Sea. And the history would name him the Prince of the Carpathians, a title both poetic and tragic, foreshadowing the destiny of a man whose brilliance would shine brightly, yet be slowly forgotten in the relentless tides of world football. At just 17, Hagi left his hometown to join Sportul Studențesc, a modest club in Bucharest. Among seasoned professionals, the skinny teenager with unruly hair quickly stood out. His left foot was dazzling, capable of strikes from distance and bold dribbles that made crowds hold their breath. Every touch promised something extraordinary. But the true turning point came in the winter of 1987. Steaua Bucharest, Romania's most powerful club, needed a player for the European Super Cup against Dynamo Kyiv. They borrowed Hagi for a single match. Destiny intervened. Hagi scored the winning goal. Steaua lifted the trophy and refused to let him go back. What began as one match only became a marriage of brilliance. In just 3 years, Hagi netted 76 goals in 97 appearances, leading Steaua to 3 consecutive league and cup doubles and deep runs in Europe, the semi-final in 1988, the final in 1989. These were not just numbers. They were the proof that a boy from Constanța had risen into a national symbol. By his early 20s, Hagi carried the hopes of an entire nation. He was no longer just a talented youngster. He was the face of Romania's dream, that football could lift a small Eastern European country into the bright lights of Europe. In 1990, after conquering Romania with Steaua, Gheorghe Hagi signed for Real Madrid. The $4.3 million deal made him one of Eastern Europe's most coveted exports. With his magical left foot, Hagi lit up the Bernabeu with flashes of genius, though the team around him lacked consistency. 2 seasons later, he moved to Brescia in Italy. There, he carried the burden of leading a modest club to Serie A promotion. He succeeded, only to experience the harsh reality of relegation the very next season. It was proof that pure talent does not always guarantee the perfect stage. In 1994, Hagi joined Barcelona, draping himself in one of football's most iconic shirts. Once again, he showcased artistry, but fate played cruelly. In both Madrid and Catalonia, he failed to win a single La Liga title. In Spain, crowns were given to others, while the Prince of the Carpathians remained without one. Yet destiny had another throne for him, Galatasaray. In Turkey, he was adored like a king. With Galatasaray, Hagi etched his name into eternity. The UEFA Cup in 2000, defeating Arsenal on penalties, followed by the UEFA Super Cup against his old club, Real Madrid. For the Turkish people, Hagi was not just a player. He was their champion, their pride, the man who gave them their first taste of European glory. And then, there was the Romanian national team. Hagi earned 125 caps, scored 35 goals, a national record. He played at 3 World Cups, 1990, 1994, 1998, and 3 European Championships. But his greatest moment came at World Cup 1994 in the USA. He carried Romania to the quarterfinals, defeating Argentina, nearly scripting one of football's most romantic upsets. His wonder goal against Colombia, looping the ball from nearly 40 meters, dropping like an autumn leaf, became immortal. They called it the falling leaf of the World Cup. That summer, the world whispered, "Maradona is gone, but another Maradona has risen from the Carpathians." With that strike, Hagi carved his place as an artist of football, a legend in the hearts of those who cherish beauty in the game. At his peak, Hagi was not only Romania's pride, he was living proof that genius can bloom anywhere, that a single left foot painting dreams across the pitch could lift an entire nation into the light. For Gheorghe Hagi, football was never just about winning. It was art, a way to touch the human soul. On the pitch, he did not chase numbers, he chased emotions. What mattered to him was not the final score, but the moment that would live forever in the memory of those who watched. Hagi's left foot was a brush, and the pitch was his canvas. Every long-range strike was a bold stroke. Every pass into unseen space was a surprising flick of color. He once said, "I don't play football, I paint it." And indeed, people remember Hagi not merely for his goals, but for the beauty he created. That philosophy made him an icon. In an era where football grew increasingly pragmatic, Hagi reminded the world that the greatest match is the one that leaves the audience smiling, with their hearts burning. He proved a timeless truth. Football needs not only conquerors, but also artists, those who transform the game into a symphony. But football, like life, is not only made of light. After the dazzling years, Gheorghe Hagi's path began to fade. In Spain, even though he wore both the white of Real Madrid and the blaugrana of Barcelona, a privilege granted to very few, Hagi left without a single La Liga title. While others were remembered for lifting trophies, his name often lingered only in the memory of fleeting moments of brilliance. As his playing days came to an end, the glow dimmed. Retiring in 2001, he threw himself into coaching with the same passion. Yet the dugout was far harsher. He managed the Romanian national team, then clubs like Bursaspor and Galatasaray. There were flashes of triumph, like winning the Turkish Cup with Galatasaray. But more often, the stories ended in disappointment. At Steaua Bucharest, his tenure lasted barely 2 months. The shadow of Hagi, the legend, was simply too large for Hagi the coach to escape. And so, in the memory of the wider football world, his image slowly disappeared from headlines. The game moved on to a new era, Zidane, Ronaldo, Messi, while the Prince of the Carpathians, once bowed to by the world in USA 1994, faded quietly into obscurity. It is the tragedy of artists. They create eternal beauty, but history is not always fair in how it remembers them. But true artists never truly disappear. Even after leaving the spotlight, Gheorghe Hagi chose to dedicate his life to football, and he wrote a beautiful final chapter, planting seeds for the future. In 2009, Hagi founded the Gheorghe Hagi Football Academy in Constanța. He poured in his family's fortune, even borrowed millions from banks to build 8 training grounds and nurture hundreds of youngsters. Then, he bought a small 3rd division club, renamed it Viitorul Constanța, the future Constanța. True to its name, the club became the stage for a new generation. Many doubted him. Yet only 8 years later, the Academy kids created history, winning the Romanian League in 2016-17. That trophy was more than silverware. It was proof that Romanian football, long lost in scandals and decline, could still rise again through love and faith. Hagi's legacy is not measured by the La Liga titles he never won, but by the shining eyes of the boys he raised. Many of them reached the U21 squad, some even the national team. With every pass, every step, they carry the spirit of their mentor, the prince who never abandoned his land. Perhaps Hagi is forgotten in debates about the greatest of all time, but in Romania and Turkey, he remains an immortal legend. His left foot may have stopped, but his legacy runs on through every child, every stadium that still chants his name. If Hagi's story touched your heart, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. So together, we keep the flame of forgotten legends burning bright.